Think of a time when one single brand owned the entire world of mobile phones. Kids in Africa, businessmen in New York, teenagers in Tokyo. Everyone, literally everyone, had the same logo in their pocket. That blue Nokia logo with the two hands connecting. In the early 2000s, saying, "I'll call you," basically meant, "I'll use my Nokia." At its peak, this Finnish company was selling 436 million phones in a single year. That's one phone for every 15 people on the planet. They were making money faster than most countries. People used to say Nokia wasn't just a company, it was a lifestyle. And then, almost overnight, it vanished. Not slowly faded, vanished. Today, when you hear the name Nokia, most Gen Z thinks it's just some random budget phone brand their grandpa uses. So how did the biggest empire in mobile history collapse in less than 3 years? Buckle up, because this story is wilder than you think. Let's go back to the golden days. Picture this, the year 2000. Flip phones were the coolest thing on earth, and Nokia wasn't just making phones, they were making legends. The Nokia 3310, the indestructible brick that could survive a nuclear explosion, or at least that's what memes say. You could drop it from the roof, run it over with a car, and it would still work. Battery life? 1 week on a single charge. And don't even get me started on Snake. That little game single-handedly raised an entire generation. Then came the N95, a phone so advanced in 2007 that people called it a mini-computer. Sliding design, 5-megapixel camera, which was insane back then. GPS, music player, it did everything. Nokia wasn't just winning the game, they had built the entire playground. Now here comes the moment that changed everything. January 9, 2007. Steve Jobs steps onto a stage in San Francisco and says 7 words that destroyed empires. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. The crowd goes crazy. He shows a device with a giant touchscreen, no buttons and apps. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in Finland, Nokia executives are watching the same keynote and laughing. One of them literally said later, "We poured champagne and celebrated because we thought Apple had just made a huge mistake." They genuinely believed no one would want a phone without a physical keyboard. They called the iPhone a niche product for rich hipsters. That single moment of arrogance became the beginning of the end. While Apple and Google with Android were racing to build ecosystems full of apps, games, and developers, Nokia was busy polishing its old crown. Their operating system was called Symbian. It worked fine in 2005, but by 2010 it felt like using Windows 95. Opening an app took 10 seconds. Installing new software? Good luck. And the worst part, developers didn't want to make apps for it. Why would they when iPhone and Android users were spending real money? Nokia kept telling themselves, "We have enterprise customers, we have carriers, we have brand loyalty, we don't need this app nonsense." Famous last words. Inside the company, things were even worse. Imagine 3 rival gangs working in the same office, all trying to build different phones and hating each other. One team was protecting Symbian like it was their baby. Another secret team was working on something called MeGo with Intel, and honestly, the MeGo phone N9 that finally came out was gorgeous. Smooth, fast, beautiful design. People who used it said it was years ahead. But guess what? Nokia killed it. Why? Because a new CEO walked in and made the most controversial decision in tech history. His name was Stephen Alop, and here's the plot twist. He was a former Microsoft executive. In 2011, he wrote a company-wide memo that leaked everywhere. He compared Nokia to a man standing on a burning oil platform in the middle of the ocean. The platform is on fire. The man is going to die unless he jumps into the freezing water. Alop said Nokia had to jump, and the only lifeboat he offered was Microsoft's Windows Phone. Overnight, Nokia abandoned everything else and announced every future phone would run Windows. Developers were shocked. Employees were furious. Fans were heartbroken, and customers, they just walked away. The phones that came after, the Lumia series, actually had incredible cameras and build quality. But nobody wanted Windows Phone. The App Store was empty. Instagram never even launched on it. By 2013, Nokia's smartphone market share had crashed from 33% to less than 3%. In 2014, Microsoft bought Nokia's phone business for $7.2 billion, and 2 years later quietly killed it. The king was dead. So what killed Nokia? 5 brutal lessons every business and every person should tattoo on their arm. Never get arrogant. The second you think you're untouchable, someone hungrier is coming. Listen to customers, not your ego. People wanted touchscreens and apps. Nokia gave them buttons and pride. Move fast or die slow, Nokia saw the future and chose to ignore it for years. Unity Matters' internal politics destroyed them faster than competitors did. Ecosystems beat hardware every time. A beautiful phone with no apps is just an expensive paperweight. Today, Nokia still exists, but not how you think. They make 5G network equipment, actually one of the leaders now, and license their name to a company that makes cheap feature phones in India and Africa. The empire that once ruled the world now survives on memories and nostalgia. So tell me in the comments, what was your first Nokia phone? Was it the unbreakable 3310, the legendary N95, or maybe a colorful 5210? Drop it below, I read every single one. And if you don't want to miss the next fall of an empire story, we're doing BlackBerry next, and trust me, it's even crazier. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You're not going to believe what they did wrong. See you in the next one.